Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are in Daytona Beach, Florida, and for you NASCAR fans and racing fans in general, this place is kind of like the holy church of racing. The legendary Daytona International Speedway. There is a lot of history here, a lot of interesting things. Today we're going to take a tour and then we're going to go through the racing museum that they have here, and I'm going to bring you along with me. So let's go and check out this track. It may not look it from the video, but this place is absolutely massive. Well, here's the entrance. The nice thing is this track does have regular tours, they have VIP tours, and I'm really excited to do this. This was everything from Bill France Sr.'s office. He was the godfather of NASCAR. That is great. Money isn't everything, but it does tend to keep the children in touch. We have the unique opportunity to check out the NASCAR archives. Here's the Roush Racing 1995 Rolex 24. You might recognize those two. Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jr. Richard Petty's 1981 Buick Regal. Here's a jacket signed by Dale Earnhardt Jr. And trophies and awards galore.
Race on high speed, high banks for million-dollar purses. Bill France was also
This is AJ Foyt's race suit.
not just a destination. This is the home of NASCAR.
Says he wore it during the 1987 and 88 seasons, including the Daytona 500 February 14th, 1988. And a rack of race suits. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Here's all the information from the NASCAR archives. Television media, correspondence. This is where you would find everything NASCAR, and if you were going to make a film on NASCAR, a lot of the information you would need is here in these filing cabinets and in this building. NASCAR Winston Cup Championship Trophy. Matt Kenseth, 2003. Nextel Cup Series Championship Trophy. You can see some of the names on here. Hopefully that shows up. Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Bobby Allison. Legends of the sport. This is Cole Trickle's helmet from Days of Thunder, signed by Tom Cruise.
He imagined a future where heroes were forged.
1979, The Fight, won by Richard Petty, the 79 Daytona 500. and the fight between Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, and Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough's car, or half of it, and Donnie Allison's car. And here's the door from the '79 Daytona where the fight occurred. Fun little piece of NASCAR history. In here they have every rule book, manual, and on the other side they have pretty much every program from NASCAR events.
Was also a talent scout.
500 feet in length, made up of 95 separate pieces of prefab concrete panels. Once we get down to the bottom, the maximum height is 13 feet 6 inches, so we can accommodate those large car haulers, the large RVs, and the buses that happen to come through here nowadays. Now, as we're going through the tunnel, guys, I'd like to start talking to you about the vision that Mr. Bill France Sr. had for his track. He had 3 characteristics in mind. The first one is he wanted the largest track. Second, he wanted the fastest track. And third, he wanted that perfect oval. Well, back in 1959, he did have the largest track, 2.5 miles in length. Also had the fastest track with speeds today of 190 to 200 miles an hour. Well, that third characteristic, that perfect oval, he was not able to pull off because of the airport being so close to our backstretch. So in order for him to put that 2.5 miles of racing surface within our 180-acre infield, he had to stretch that front stretch out just enough. So guys, if you've ever heard the term that's been attached to our track that we are a tri-oval track, that is the reason why. All right, as we're coming out of the tunnel, if you take a look to my right, you're going to notice we're coming out of turns 1, heading to turns 2. The distance between turns 1 and 2 are the same as turns 3 and 4. That's 3,200 feet with a 31-degree embankment.
We're in the infield now and headed to the media center.
Alright guys, we have some seats. We have these seats here. You can turn these around. We're going to be watching the TVs on that.
Now, if you were a NASCAR fan back in the early 2000s, 2001, Dale Earnhardt was killed in an accident on turn 4. If you remember when they made the death announcement of him, that happened right up here on this, in this area here. It's a pretty big moment in NASCAR history.
Blue and white garages. These garages are used in January for the Rolex 24-hour race cars. They're also used anytime the Xfinity Series cars are here just as well. Now, this portion of the lot that I happen to be driving on right now, no, that looks like a trash can. Well, anyway, guys, this area of the lot that we happen to be driving on right now is where those teams park their car haulers. When it's time to load those cars, they'll drop the back hatch. They'll wheel those cars into their respective garages, and immediately those guys are going to jump on that car with a vengeance and getting it ready to go racing. Alright, to my left, you're going to notice some of our emergency vehicles. We happen to own all of our emergency vehicles, and during the course of our races, they'll be strategically placed all around our track, and they'll be on hold just in case they're needed. Guys, I have to ask you this one question again. TV does not do justice, does it? During the races, if you see any races, usually just get a couple snippets of different places on the track where you guys are getting ready to see all of it. Because we're getting ready to go to a place that we don't usually go to. We're going to go all the way down to turns 3 and 4. Visit. If any of our drivers gets into a substantial crash, they'll then be released to go back into their garages, or they'll be taken to the nearest trauma center about 2 miles away. Right, that's turn 3. But I'd like to direct your attention to turn 4. If you guys take a look over there, you're going to notice our first sets of tunnels. That was constructed in 1958. And guys, if you take a look at the clearance, which you might not be able to see from here, it's only 7 feet 6 inches. But back then we did not have the large car haulers, the large RVs, or the buses that happen to come through here nowadays. Matter of fact, on the other side of the entrances, and I'll show you that when we go back, they would unload their cars right into the parking lot, drive those cars right on through those tunnels, and right onto the track. Now, if you look straight ahead of me, you're going to notice our smaller road course. This is about a quarter-mile road course. We happen to use these for our smaller go-karts. We also use them anytime that we have some car clubs come out here as well.
Now we are at the Tower Suites.
That these are not $9 beers up here. Probably $20 shots and whatever. But anyway, I want to welcome you to the Rolex Lounge. It looks like an airport, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But on each end of the Rolex Lounge, guys, we have our smaller suites. Those we have a dozen of them. The next level up that we go to happens to be our corporate suites. We cannot go into them, but we can at least take a look at them. Now, guys, normally when it's not raining, it's not a lightning strike, we can go outside, but we can't today. But guys, go ahead and head to the windows and check that out from this level. Chandelier. This happens to be 12 of the tracks that the France family personally owns themselves. And guys, when those races are happening at their tracks, they do not stay in their suites. They actually intermingle with the people, the fans, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. People moving here daily. A lot of people my age, they're called baby boomers. They're getting tired of the winters up north and everything, so they're coming down here. Also, if you guys do not know what snowbirds are people that come down here for 6 months. A lot of them have 6 months visas, and then they have to be back in their own country in 6 months. So
It's pretty incredible. Now we're heading to the museum. And also they said that this walkway that we just walked on is where, if they have presidents, dignitaries, celebrities, all that, this is where they come in at. Now we're back in the museum. This was the 2025 Daytona 500 winning car from William Byron. You can see a lot of the drivers sign the back of the car there. Still a bit of confetti on it. This is a Tony Stewart sprint car. There's even cars suspended from the ceiling. This is pretty incredible. This car is autographed by racing legends. Linda Vaughn, the First Lady of Motorsports, her personal car. The Heritage of Daytona. Check this out and see what they got. Now, for those that don't know, they started racing on Daytona Beach, like early 1900s. This is what the cars looked like back then. And I believe they said that the first car that was racing on the beaches hit about 68 miles an hour. This is Henry Ford's 999. It says the car that helped launch Ford Motor Company. It says that the vehicle on display is an exact duplicate, but first man-made vehicle to break 100 miles an hour. Here's a mock-up of Bill France gas station. Gotta love some of this old school Americana. Some racing suits from Mario Andretti and Bobby Unser. There's Tony Stewart's class of 2019. It's 2001 Indy 500 helmet. There's Big Daddy Don Garlett's helmet. Famous drag racing legend. There's racing legend Bill Elliott's helmet. It says it was worn by him during the 1989 NASCAR Cup Series. This helmet signed by Dale Earnhardt right there. Now, if you're a racing fan, who else's signature can you identify? If you missed it, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, a few others on here. Here's a recreation of some of the embankment with some of the cars, some dating back to the earliest ones. And it says that this was a replica of Dale Earnhardt's Good Wrench car, the number 3. Earnhardt was one of the biggest track legends here, sadly killed in the Daytona 500 last lap, 2001. Speaking of stock car legends, this was Rusty Wallace, his number 2, 1994 Ford Thunderbird. The fabulous Hudson Hornet, number 6. It says the most successful car in early days of NASCAR. What a cool museum. Well, that was a really interesting tour. They took us to see a lot of things. We were originally supposed to check out Victory Lane and a few other things, but there is a tornado warning in the area and lightning strikes, so certain things had to be kind of forgiven with that. But overall, a really interesting tour, highly recommended. And if you ever get a chance, yeah, don't turn it down. But that's all there is for today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.